From an economic perspective, the government's budget for 2020 presents positive expected results. The Minister confirmed that government's finances for 2019 will end in a surplus and is budgeting an even bigger surplus for 2020. These positive results are mainly due to historic and expected continued growth in the Maltese economy, despite global challenges. A large number of the measures announced in the budget speech are a continuation or extension of measures that government has taken during the last couple of years. In this respect, it seems that government has found a successful formula for achieving economic growth and plans to continue building on measures already implemented. In view of this, the budget speech did not present any particular surprises. Indeed, instead of having a particular strategic focus, the budget speech contained references to a large number of relatively small measures and initiatives covering various economic and industrial sectors.
From an income tax perspective, the budget for 2020 does not introduce any new taxes. On the other hand, some tax incentives were announced, mainly targeting lower income earners and pensioners. These included a reduced rate of 15% on income from the first 100 hours of overtime work, in the case of an employee with a basic annual salary of not more than €20,000 and not in a managerial grade. Secondly, and as in the previous 2 years, employees earning less than €60,000 will be paid a tax refund of between €40 and €68. And the third measure for such category of persons, the exemption on pension income will be increased so as to cover the increased pensions announced in the budget. This will ultimately ensure that up to the maximum government pension, no tax will be incurred. The Minister of Finance also announced some other tax incentives, which included an extension of the reduced stamp duty rate on donations to family members of certain business property and securities, higher stamp duty exemptions, or in certain cases, extension of stamp duty exemptions for first-time and second-time buyers and inherited residential property, and as from next year, gains arising from the assignment of promise of sale agreements on immovable property will be subject to a 15% tax rate rather than at 35%. Regarding tax measures for Gozo, the Minister referred to an improvement to the iStartup tax credit to further incentivize new businesses in Gozo and also fiscal incentives on relocation expenses for companies relocating their operations to Gozo.
One of the characteristics of this budget is the sheer multitude of social and other measures. The first is the continued emphasis in upgrading the Maltese infrastructure, focusing particularly on the Maltese road network and other forms of transportation. We've seen also measures being introduced to encourage people to buy their first or their second property, so in order to get individuals on the property ladder, particularly in the property market that we are currently experiencing. The third is in respect of environment. Some measures that have been introduced to continue protecting the Maltese environment, although one would hopefully see new developments coming in the future. Another focus area is the Maltese natural environment, with a number of projects such as afforestation being identified as projects that will be rolled out in the near future. Another focus area is the continued investment in emerging technologies in terms of developing Malta as a hub for new technologies like artificial intelligence, RegTech, FinTech, to find an ecosystem to continuing developing the Maltese economy further.